A modern reimagining of the 1937 classic, the film has been plagued by controversy since day one. From backlash over the removal of the original storyline and the dwarfs, to Rachel Zegler's viral 2023 interview clips slamming the original film as weird and creepy. Now, in a shocking twist no one saw coming, yet everyone kind of expected, the production reportedly faced major setbacks and serious delays. Disney's official excuse? Scheduling conflicts. But sources close to the set say something far more chaotic was happening behind the curtain. And at the center of it all, Rachel Zegler, whose behavior may have just threatened the magic before it ever made it to screen. Rachel Zegler's Snow White wasn't just another live-action remake. It was Disney's latest attempt to breathe life into a classic IP while pushing a more modern and progressive narrative. After controversial casting decisions and woke marketing spin, Disney made it clear this wasn't going to be your grandmother's fairy tale. They cast Rachel, a young Latina actress, as the iconic princess in what was meant to be a bold, inclusive reimagining. But somewhere between virtue signaling and actual filmmaking, the studio seems to have lost the plot, just like Rachel seems to have lost the humility that comes with earning a leading role instead of being handed one for the sake of optics. For Rachel Zegler, this role was meant to be her big comeback. After the PR mess that followed West Side Story, where she alienated fans with smug interviews and ungrateful comments about classic films, her reputation took a serious hit. Her career had stalled despite the initial buzz, and Snow White was her shot at redemption. But instead of rising to the occasion, she apparently brought the same attitude that got her in trouble the first time, proving that entitlement doesn't magically turn into talent just because Hollywood says so. From Disney's perspective, Snow White was supposed to be a cornerstone in their live-action empire. Following the mixed receptions of Mulan, The Little Mermaid, and Peter Pan and Wendy, they needed a hit to justify their progressive remake strategy. Executives were banking on this movie to prove their new direction could succeed commercially and culturally, but with reported setbacks and bad press piling up, it's clear they bet on a lead actress who's better at lecturing audiences than leading a set. What started as minor frustrations quickly turned into a pattern of deteriorating morale on set, according to multiple sources. Crew members described the energy as off just weeks into filming, with one technician saying, "You could tell people were walking on eggshells around her." As the tension built, what should have been an exciting creative environment turned into a stressful workplace, thanks to a lead who acted more like a diva than a teammate. And once again, it's another case of a self-proclaimed progressive star thinking the rules don't apply when you're woke. It began with the kind of behavior that's easy to brush off in the beginning. Rachel reportedly showing up late to call times, often arriving with coffee in hand while others had already been working for hours. While some tried to be patient, chalking it up to young starlet energy, it quickly became clear this wasn't a one-off. Regular tardiness on a film set isn't just disrespectful, it's disruptive to the entire team. And yet, Rachel carried on like she was doing the crew a favor by even showing up. The hallmark of another pampered celeb who thinks activism equals professionalism. Her attitude during rehearsals didn't help matters. Insiders say she seemed dismissive when directors or co-stars offered feedback, rarely made eye contact, and often appeared disinterested during group blocking sessions. Even the smallest moments, like rolling her eyes during line readings, started to add up. For a film already under a microscope due to its political messaging, having a lead actress visibly annoyed by the process only added fuel to the fire, because nothing says empowered woman like treating your colleagues like peasants. Early on, crew members voiced concerns to production heads, but nothing was done. Some insiders believe the studio was afraid to call Rachel out, worried about backlash from her online supporters, or being accused of stifling a woman of color's voice. But as one assistant put it, "We were so focused on avoiding controversy, we let her walk all over the entire production." And that's exactly what happens when Hollywood confuses accountability with oppression. Bad behavior gets a pass as long as it's wrapped in identity politics. As the weeks wore on, Rachel's unprofessionalism reportedly became more blatant. Crew members described a general sense of entitlement, like she believed she was the only one on set whose time mattered. She would allegedly spend long periods in her trailer, delaying shoots and leaving other actors and departments waiting around. One crew member said, "It felt like she thought the entire movie was about her, not her character." She would allegedly spend long periods in her trailer, delaying shoots and leaving other actors and departments waiting around. This kind of behavior created frustration across the set, making an already complicated production even harder to manage. But in today's Hollywood, where wokeness often shields bad conduct, calling out such diva antics can quickly turn into a PR nightmare. Rachel reportedly began pushing back against the script as well, demanding substantial rewrites to better fit her public image. Sources say she wanted to shift the story away from the original fairy tales themes to focus more on progressive messaging that suited her activism. This created a clash between the creative team's vision and her personal demands, adding another layer of tension to the production. When a lead starts rewriting a script mid-shoot, it's usually a sign things are far from smooth. Yet in the woke era, it somehow gets framed as creative collaboration instead of entitlement. The breaking point came during what was supposed to be a routine direction session. According to insiders, Rachel allegedly raised her voice at the director, accusing him of undermining her talent and vision. Shockingly, she then walked off set mid-scene, fully dressed in costume, leaving the cast and crew stunned. Extras and crew who witnessed the meltdown described a scene of utter chaos, with many fearing the project might collapse under the strain. Moments like these show how fragile productions can become when star egos go unchecked, especially when political correctness protects bad behavior. The fallout was swift. One supporting actor reportedly refused to work with Rachel without a mediator present. Makeup and styling staff started rotating shifts to avoid crossing paths with her. The set's atmosphere was described as toxic by several crew members. Faced with mounting delays and a hostile work environment, the director and producers ultimately had no choice but to pause filming temporarily to regroup and attempt damage control. Disney's official statement maintained that scheduling conflicts were the reason for the delay, but insiders tell a very different story, one of chaos, bad attitudes, and a production spiraling out of control. Online, fans are divided. Some defend Rachel as a victim of Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight, while others see her as just another woke celebrity whose entitlement brought a promising film to its knees. The truth probably lies somewhere in between, but the damage to both Rachel's reputation and Disney's ambitious project is clear. Looking ahead, the future for Rachel Zegler remains uncertain. This high-profile setback could be just a bump or the start of a more serious fallout in her career. Industry insiders speculate about potential recasting or a complete reboot of the film if the issues aren't resolved quickly. Given how quickly the narrative has turned, it's anyone's guess whether Snow White will ever recover its original magic or become another cautionary tale of woke culture gone wrong. At the end of the day, this chaos underscores a larger trend in Hollywood: the growing scrutiny of star behavior behind the scenes, especially when combined with politically charged agendas. It's a stark reminder that no amount of progressive branding can replace professionalism, respect, and teamwork on a film set, something that seems to be getting lost in the current culture wars. Woke culture has deeply changed Hollywood, but not always for the better. What started as a genuine push for more diversity and representation has morphed into a rigid set of rules that often prioritize political correctness over creativity and talent. Studios now obsess over ticking every inclusion box, sometimes casting actors or reshaping stories more to fit a woke agenda than to serve the art or the audience. This has created an environment where artistic risks are sidelined, replaced by formulaic projects designed more to avoid controversy than to tell compelling stories. Instead of celebrating storytelling, Hollywood seems trapped in endless virtue signaling, where the message matters more than the movie itself. This shift has alienated many fans who crave authentic, well-crafted films rather than a politically motivated lecture wrapped in flashy visuals. At the same time, it has empowered some actors and creatives to wield their identity politics like a shield, allowing bad behavior to go unchecked because calling it out might be labeled as oppression or bigotry. This warped version of progressiveness is slowly suffocating the industry's soul. The impact of woke culture isn't just about what's on screen. It's changed how people work behind the scenes. Set dynamics are increasingly fraught with tension as social justice has become more important than teamwork and professionalism. When production decisions are influenced by fear of offending or upsetting certain groups, accountability suffers. Stars and crew alike can hide behind woke rhetoric to excuse tardiness, diva behavior, or creative interference, all under the guise of standing up for their voice. But this kind of entitlement does not foster collaboration or respect, which are essential on any film set. Instead, it breeds resentment and frustration among cast and crew who feel powerless to address issues without risking backlash. The woke culture bubble creates an atmosphere where people tiptoe around problems instead of confronting them head-on, often allowing toxic behavior to spiral out of control, leading to delays, shutdowns, and even the collapse of entire projects.